Good morning. My name is Jeju Abraham and I'm one of the IELTS trainers working for Royal Institute Kottayam. Today I'm here with something different, something unique. Now what's that? Let me tell you, I'm sometimes a bit obsessed with what separates students who get the scores they need from those who don't. Have you ever pondered, are there any common factors that separate out the successful students from those who are not successful? Absolutely yes. I would say absolutely yes. Now, I'm going to talk to you about something different. And let me tell you, IELTS is not just about intelligence. And if this would have been the case, most of the students wouldn't have been doctors, nurses, engineers, or postgraduate students. Today, I'm going to talk to you about five traits about why students are not successful and 5 traits about successful students. Let's start with the 5 traits of average students. Trait number 1, they consume huge amounts of information. Now, what do I mean by that? They have watched every YouTube video, read every IELTS book on earth. That means consuming a lot of information, making it a little confusing. Now, firstly, let me tell you, there is a huge gap between learning how to do something and actually doing it. Could you learn how to drive a car, cook a delicious meal, or play football just by reading about it? Can you? No, it's not possible, right? So, it has to be implemented. Trait number 2, they have many different teachers. That's another problem. Some of my students have come and told me that's a big problem. Sometimes a teacher explains something, another teacher explains the same thing in another way. So they have different teachers. That makes it a little difficult for them. Now let me tell you one thing. What you write is a reflection of your thinking. And if your thinking is confused, your writing will also be. Number 3, they hope they'll get a good score. Students come and tell me, I hope I might get a good score. I would rather ask them, what do you mean by hope unless you implement? Now let me tell you, luck is not a factor, hope is not a factor. The reasons why you are failing is not because you have bad luck. If you get 5.5 10 times in a row, that's not because you have bad luck, that's because that's the level. You can improve things, but not until you figure out why you are not getting the score and why you need to actually improve. Number 4, they look for shortcuts, tips, and hacks. Let me tell you one thing, there are no shortcuts, there are no tips, and no hacks. Absolutely no hacks or shortcuts. There are actually no shortcuts. So you are trying to lie yourself. You're lying to yourself and wasting your time and money if you think there are shortcuts to achieve the band score. Number 5, they do not take action. It's a very important factor to note. Number 5 is they do not take action, and it's the same with the IELTS writing. Now let me tell you, do you want to know why you're not getting the score you need? Because there's no action being done. Now, what are you supposed to do? Look at your writing and figure out your mistake. That takes action. Learn how to fix your mistakes. That takes actions. Get feedback on your work. That takes action. Practice. That takes action. Consistently write a band 7 level. That takes lots of action. This factor is more important than any other. Stop consuming information and start to put out what you have learned into action. So the question is, are you trying to keep doing those things again and again, or are you going to keep these things going in the same way, or are you getting the same results, or are you going to change? I repeat again, so the question is, are you going to keep doing the same things again and again and getting the same results, or are you prepared to change by taking actions? Now let's talk about why students are successful. A very important factor to know why some students are actually really successful. And my definition of success here is getting the score and moving on with your life. Let me tell you, number 1 trait of a successful student is that they actually have a system in place. Now what do I mean by having a system in place? They do not watch every single YouTube video or read every website. They know what they need to learn and they know what they do not need to learn. They have a study plan and know exactly what they need to do. This is what I mean by system. They know exactly what they need to learn and they follow this step by step. Number two, they get feedback on their work. You have to know what you're doing wrong before you can fix it. If something is wrong, you have to know what went wrong before you fix it. Would you try to figure out why you are sick by yourself? No. That's why the doctors are here for. Now, let's move on to the advice that I would give you. If you want to move on with your life and forget about the test, find someone you trust to tell the exact reasons why you are not successful yet. This could be your current teacher, an old teacher, or someone you meet in your local area. Just make sure that they know what they are doing, and you will be in more trouble than before you started. The strategy number three is they prepare in a strategic way. Smart students will work on specific areas and those areas only. Now, for example, if you had a sore tooth, would you ask the dentist to take all your teeth out? Definitely not, right? So, successful students are smart students, and they will work on those specific areas and those areas only. Number four, they take action. Very important aspect, they take action. You could have had the best system in the world, the best teacher in the world, or you could have the best preparation planned out all meticulously on your table. But all will it work? And until you actually take action, all that means nothing. So, last but not least, they have accountability. Now, studying is hard, IELTS is boring, it's just a hurdle you need to get over. That's tough, I do get it. But you are far more likely to succeed if you have someone keeping you accountable. In other words, let me tell you, you are required to justify what you're doing, and you have to be responsible for your progress. This could be a friend, a family member, teacher, or fellow students. And my advice would be, lots of students actually start off with a huge amount of enthusiasm, and a couple of weeks later they're back to their old habits. So my advice is, give yourselves every chance by getting some accountability. Thank you so much for listening, and this is Jiju Abraham signing off from the Royal Education Group, and you're welcome to Royal Education Group.